And we have a very special guest today, the special envoy of Startup Delta. His Royal Highness Prince Constantijn.
You know what that was? That was the opening of the shoot, I think, isn't it? The signal.
Oh, the hunting.
What is it called? Die Begrüßung. Okay. So that's when you basically invite everybody to go and shoot. So, but don't. Don't yet. And it's just a start. I just want to say how incredibly excited I am to be here and how surprised to see so many suits. I thought I was going to run into a meeting with many more hoodies, but and this is actually probably the most exciting thing about this whole event is that there is such a big diversity of interests in this room. They're not just developers, but there are many people from government, from different businesses, from some municipalities. We heard already, we have insurers, we have energy, all these different sectors, all represented here. And this is an atmosphere, it's a bizarre atmosphere because you are in this amazing room that represents something like 800 years history. And we're doing something that is so excitingly new. And we're all inviting everybody to step out of their comfort zones. And so maybe that's the good thing about this room. It does get you out of your comfort zone because it's always a bit awkward to be here with the throne, a big chair, and you're not allowed to sit on it. And you know that in this room so many important meetings have taken place. And what we try to do here today, and it's ready. Well, it's also in the title, "The Future of Trust," is actually to do two things. One is blockchain obviously is about decentralizing trust, and we have to explore that. And yesterday we had a meeting in which Dan Barry spoke, the 3 times astronaut, and it was all about AI and trust in AI. And his point was, you get into a space shuttle and you have to trust the people that build the machine. You have to trust the people that create AI because you don't know what it is. It's a black box. You don't even know, even if you've created it, machine learning, the machine will produce outcomes and you don't know how it got to those outcomes, but you have to trust the people and the instruments that have created the machine. And that's what we're doing today. We're forging this community with all these different interests as a community of trust in a space where you can experiment and where you can grow together. And it is not easy because in experimental environments there's some things lacking like predictability, reliability, a lot of things that are new connections being made. And what we really require is transparency. Once you trust because you know there's trust in the process, or you know there's trust in the outcome. So you have to have fair process and fair outcomes. And this is what we're building together. And things will go wrong, and we have to be open to that. We have to rely on our good intentions, and we will experiment things. Yesterday we discussed a lot about ICOs and how that is in some ways maybe a bubble, and there will be many bubble effects, and there were some critical discussions about it, and someone who was in the middle of this said actually something which was, I thought, very insightful. Because we said, obviously, this is like the internet bubble in the 90s. And said, yeah, well, it is like the internet bubble in the 90s. And there will be many bad developments, but the 90s also produced Google, and it did produce Amazon, and there will be an Amazon and there will be a Google in this game as well. And that's why we have to continue working on this, and the real gems will come out eventually. Today, all ingredients are there. We've got developers, we've got launching customers. We have, in our country, we have field labs. We already heard about that. We have a government that's very willing to explore this and to look at how blockchain and identity can go together. And I think there it's a very interesting area, how we can basically merge our old concepts of identity, sovereign identity, with new concepts of identity. But that's not good enough. It's all there, all the ingredients are there, and we have to start cooking. because we don't start cooking fast. This is such an incredibly big development that we will be missing out. So even though you are not comfortable, and people say these sensor things or IoT thing like, well, blockchain, whatever, that's now. Tomorrow will be a different day. After today, I think you will make some huge strides in understanding better what blockchain can actually mean for your sectors, for your businesses, and for the services that you're running. And that's really important, because if you miss a year, that's a lifetime. And we're now in a position where we can actually really make some headway. And not only here in the Netherlands, it's a global development. We need to be connected to what's happening abroad. So, and I see that Rutger, with his Dutch chain, is also kind of making that move, really trying to be as open as possible for all those developments that are outside of this country, and make sure that we are connected to those developments. And I think that is absolutely important. It's also nice to see many familiar faces from February, when we had the Dutch chain finals in the beautiful city of Groningen. And which was a much darker venue, and it was much more, I think the sleeves were rolled up already at this time. People were too eager to get into actually hacking away. This is a much more kind of, I wouldn't say what kind of crowd, a more sophisticated crowd that is still very kind of more in a waiting mode, but I'm sure that in about half an hour's time that will change. To round off, this is the Hall of Knights. I already said it. I don't know if people haven't been here. On the walls are the most important texts of our country's history, linked to individual provinces. And some provinces didn't have a constitutional text, but there's maybe an incredibly important poem that was written by an author from the province, so that could be there. And we even have, look here, this is where is this one? This is the European Union, I think. Yeah, this is the 92. So this is Maastricht. This is the European Union text of Maastricht in 1992 that initiated the internal market. So it's not my intention to let you put graffiti on the walls and start writing text on the walls, but it is my intention that we create something today that is worthy of putting on this wall. And so if there is maybe that space there, in 20 years' time, there'll be a text referring to this meeting, because something of constitutional nature has happened here today, and that we want to remember that for years to come. And thank you very much for being part of Startup Fest, being part of connecting investors, business people, governments, and startup to make a better world. Thank you so much.
Constantijn van Oranje, thank you very much.